high-tech oils. Available from Auto One, Sprint Auto Parts, and all leading independent auto stores.
The 2015 Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge welcomes two new up-and-coming stars of Australian motorsport this weekend in James Abella and Dylan O'Keefe.
I started off in go-karts when I was 7 years old, did that for 9 years, and then last year I did some racing in Aussie racing cars, and now I'm here.
Well, I want to be a professional race car driver for a career, so Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge is a good stepping stone for that, and hopefully I can work my way up into Career Cup and see what happens. The competition's really tough. The guys I'm racing against have very good experience, and I've only raced go-karts, so I'm still learning all of that.
There's me, Aaron Seaton, Dylan O'Keefe, who qualified second, well done to him. Mainly the top 5 to 10 drivers are my main competitors.
Both drivers have years of experience in karts and lately in Aussie racing cars. But what do they think of these current Porsche GT3 Cup cars?
The model's 997 and it's really good. The car rewards you a lot when you push it to its limits. They're very fast, so you have to be aware of that, but they've got plenty of grip along with that.
It is a lot different. Obviously, go-karts and Aussie cars have helped me progress as a driver, but Porsche is definitely very different to anything else I've ever driven.
O'Keefe has some great people in his corner, and one happens to be a major player in Australian motorsport for the past 20 years.
I have Stephen Richards as my driver coach, and he's the 2014 champion in Career Cup, so he's teaching me all the right things. I'm very fortunate, I've got the right people behind me, and it's starting to pay off with a good qualifying position.
Welcome back to Winton Motor Raceway as we get set for round 2 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge presented by Pirelli here. Second round of this year's championship. Richard Craill joins me, Matt Nolte, for this one. In a championship that is heating up.
It's going to be exciting, Matt Nolte. Ryan Simpson with a marginal lead over Jeff Emery. Two newcomers to the championship this year. First and second in the standings, John McCorkindale and John Goodacre, protagonists from last year at 3rd and 4th. And the rookie Dylan O'Keefe doing an outstanding job. He's P5. Race 2 and 3 coming your way from a cool and cloudy Winton Motor Raceway. We had race 1 on Saturday night. It was the first of the Jim Richards Endurance Trophy races. It was won by Ryan Simpson after a brilliant battle that lasted the entire 30-lap distance with John McCorkindale. The pair trading lap records, but in the end Simpson got his first win in the long-distance Porsche races that are such a big part of the GT3 Cup Challenge.
Great field of cars here, 20 in order for this one, race 2 of this year's championship, the second round. So on board with the 54 machine of James Abella. Lots of Aussie racing car experience this year, with karting experience over the years too. We're underway on board with Dylan O'Keefe, who's made up a couple of positions, looking to go down the inside of Ryan Simpson, but the door slammed shut.
Wasn't a great start for Abella, wasn't it? And he's dropped a spot or two. McCorkindale with a good getaway in that bright green 997 GT3 Cup. Dylan O'Keefe though to P2, good start. Everyone files through turn 3 nicely. There's Aaron Seaton running in the Class B car this weekend. We go on board the Scott Taylor Motorsport entry. So the first generation 997 running in Class B. A little bit less horsepower, a little bit less aero, but at a circuit like this, they can punch above their weights. Up into the tricky change of direction. Great place for Porsche Racing Winton Motor Raceway, but a good clean start for the first half of the opening lap.
And everybody's safely through. Just some bumps. It's really noticeable in these GT3 Cup cars as they come around the Gumtree section, with some of the cars further back in the field there, including Seaton and Sam Shaheen also in the field this weekend.
John O'Taylor there with a good start. Another one of the impressive rookies this year. And down the inside goes the two, the STM car on the inside of John Karatinos. We're on board with the Bella, the McElroy Racing Run Halsley Park gun shop car, side by side, trying to make up from this difficult start.
Oh, good pass on the outside.
Yeah, it takes a lot of commitment to do that on Cole Pirelli tyres as well. These tyres are amazingly durable, and the lap times they were pumping out in the Jim Richards Enduro on Saturday night were astonishing. the pace has moved up. They're a second to a second and a half a lap quicker this year compared to where they were 12 months ago at the same venue, on the same tyre with the same cars. Everyone's scratching their head after qualifying going, well, we just don't know why we're faster. We are. Things have moved on significantly in this championship. On board with Sam Shahin, the start from the HTFU car. It's a new car for him this weekend.
Pretty nice start too. Cars in front locking up the brakes. He's alongside Miles in the Autobahn entry. Have to hang tough on the outside, hoping not to run out of racetrack because it does narrow up pretty significantly down to turn 3.
Big lock up from Scotty Taylor down there into turn 1, just turning his left front Pirelli into a 50-cent piece. As Stephen Richards watches on, he's involved with Dylan O'Keefe as a driver, coach, sort of team manager role, working with a very impressive 17-year-old youngster from Melbourne. He's a real star of the future. So too this guy, Bella down the inside at turn 3 with a nice move on the experienced Scott Taylor. One of a few drivers doing double duties this year in various categories, but he's got a Porsche focus running in Porsche Carrera Cup Australia and the GT3 Cup Challenge presented by Pirelli.
Just like we're seeing in the Kumo V8 Touring Car Series, a lot of young kids involved in this series now as well. Very, very healthy in 2015 as Taylor on the back here, Seaton as we head around the bottom section of the course.
Well, it's been a development series for Carrera Cup. The series has evolved over the years, GT3 Cup, to become a breeding ground for new Carrera Cup stars, and we've seen with Fraser Ross, the defending champion, moving up into Carrera Cup this year, Michael Arment, Richard Muscat, all great drivers from GT3 Cup Challenge moving into Porsche Carrera Cup Australia, and also the elite division drivers in Carrera Cup and the Tag Heuer Carrera Challenge having a really good go after getting experience in these cars. O'Keefe with a locked brake and coming under pressure from McCorkindale, who has been struggling with new tyre pace this weekend. This is another look at that move down at 3. Pretty textbook Winton stuff at a circuit that's hard to pass. James Abella did the job there.
Car looks awesome too in the livery. It's got to be back on board with Abella now. As he runs down to turn 1, currently running 6th position through this tricky chicane, just through the old last section of the course.
John Goodacre had a big wobble into turn 1 there. He's been struggling with the balance of the 66 car, and he was relatively happy with it in the long race last night, but just didn't have the outright speed to go with the leaders that we're used to seeing from Johnny G. One of the great drivers in this championship though, always exciting. The best starter in a Porsche by far, but he's getting worked over at the moment by the youngster.
Chiabella's driving. He's driving really tough here at the moment. The young guy, plenty of experience, I said, in karts, but now making a big step up into Porsche GT3 Cup in 2015.
John O'Taylor just behind in the number 3 car, the orange and white with the yellow highlights. He had a good 8th place run in the Jim Richards Enduro on Saturday night. Really consistent performer. He's another new driver on the scene this year that's really brought their A-game. But the A-game's pretty high when you look at the likes of Ryan Simpson and Jeff Emery, who's just leading this battle pack, just a couple of car lengths in front of John Goodacre. The standard is impressively high at the front of the field. Simpson leads. O'Keefe holding on to 2nd place on the final lap. He runs a little bit wide at turn 1 and he gets gobbled up by John McCorkindale, who works his way through and grabs 2nd.
That was a big move right in the last lap here. If you're wondering where Ryan Simpson is, he's about 7 seconds up the road. McCorkindale now just moves up to 2nd place. Let's go back to action further in the field here.
And it's been busy in this race, but taking a look at the timing monitor, it shows a brand new lap record as well for Ryan Simpson, which is pretty impressive given they pounded out 30 laps of this place and qualifying on Saturday. So midway through race 2 of the weekend, they're still setting lap records and into the 124s. That's Carrera Cup pace at this joint. So unbelievably fast, and Simpson setting a huge standard, a high standard at the front of the field. Goodacre under pressure still, but using all his guile and cunning and experience to hold off James Abella and John O'Taylor, the 2 newcomers to the championship this year.
Goodacre moves to the middle of the track there in that right-hand corner. They're now coming out to the short little straight, which will take it back into the left-hander on the last half of this final lap.
Goodacre's car sporting the green colour of his favourite beverage. Here's the checkered flag. Ryan Simpson makes it 2 from 2 at Winton Motor Raceway. Gee, this guy's impressive. Great on cold tyres, great on old tyres and new alike. He is a massive benchmark in this year's Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge.
Abella coming through on the back here too of Scotty Taylor. So they come down to take the checkered flag here in this one. How's the time, though, for Simpson? He was half a second quicker than the field during that race.
Unbelievable performance. O'Keefe on the podium. He's been impressive so far. Jeff Emery to fourth. Goodacre next. We look through the pack and look for Aaron Seaton, who's first of the Class B cars home in the Scotty Taylor Motorsport car. Brian, Finn, McGregor, Campbell and Barwood rounding out the top 20 in race 2.
Yeah, sprint races today. We had the long race yesterday and tried to conserve the tyres, but that was just an all-out sprint, so we could put our head down and break some lap records and have a bit of fun and try and steer clear of the others and get a good start and drive away, which we did, which was great.
So here we go for race number 3. Can Simpson do it again? Some penalties applied after that race too to John O'Taylor and to James Abella, both copping 5-second penalties.
Which just shuffles the grid around slightly for this race and elevates Scott Taylor in the 2 car up a little bit alongside John Goodacre. Sam Shahin having a really good weekend, just in the bottom of the top 10 alongside Aaron Seaton. And that Class B battle with Jackson Evans, one of the McElrea stable of cars, really heating up this year in the Porsche GT3 Cup, presented by Pirelli. We're ready for a start. Third and final race of the weekend. Simpson and McCorkindale on the front row. Good start. Emery off the second row and tries to work his way through the middle. O'Keefe's got the best view of this. Contact, more contact. They run a little bit wide through turn 1.
Oh dear.
Oh, McCorkindale goes around and he's collected by Abella, who's turned on the exit of turn 2, and it's chaos.
How lucky was McCorkindale? Like a sitting duck there. The field just split their way around, and poor James Abella here is going to have to retire this car. Too much damage to the Horsley Park gun shop entry.
And Emery limping as well, so massive drama for a guy running at the front of the field all weekend long. So he's got right rear tyre down, the Pirelli down on that car, and probably broken suspension as well, because it looked like it copped a pretty hefty hit. And see Sam Shahin limping at the back as well. There he is. New car for him this weekend.
And having such a great run, the man behind the new Tailem Bend Motorsport Park, which will come online the next couple of years. And look at the damage to McCorkindale's car.
Well, this is an enormous drama for John, because he is a title contender this year, and this is going to be a no score for him. He just can't afford to give away races. So what happened? They all barreled in and they all went wide on the exit of turn 1. McCorkindale got turned around, and I think everyone else just got a bit of collateral damage. Oh, gee, they finished off Sam Shahin at the end there, didn't they?
He almost got away with it. He went through that dust cloud and then all of a sudden was clipped by another car. This is the view from Abella, and unfortunately Abella's going to be on the scene here quicker than everyone. And just gets the back of McCorkindale.
It was just the leaders all carting each other wide at turn 1, Matt, that caused that to check up. We're back underway anyway. Wow, what drama at the start of the motor race, and it's got interesting all of a sudden, because there's some cars towards the front that
oh dear, look at this,
shouldn't have been there. They've got to tippy-toe through turn 2 and turn 3 because there's oil dry down. It's a very slippery surface. Look down the inside. Seaton on Goodacre gets it done. Great move by the youngster, who's having a ripper weekend. And now his teammate going up the inside, and he gets into the rear corner. Seaton gets turned around by Scott Taylor. The teammates come together.
It's going to be an interesting debrief at the end of this race. Seaton will drop a ton of positions here. And Regathers car number 30, but it's Simpson out in front. O'Keefe is now second. It's going to be Goodacre next. We head down to the hairpin. What a mixed bag this has turned out to be.
John Caratinos, the quiet achiever in this motor race, just carves his way through the field and gets himself into the top 4. Scott Taylor's 5th, then back to Tim Miles. The Autobahn car's got John O'Taylor behind. And Finn is next with Jackson Evans, who now leads Class B with Aaron Seaton behind him. So Aaron Seaton on the verge of a top 5 finish, if not better, but gets firmly carted off the road at turn 4 and has got it all to do.
Oh, and almost missed the gear going down. He saw him grab at the last second as he go past Brian Finn on the run down. Here's the final set of turns. Only 14 cars took the restart here. We've lost 6 in that turn 2 melee we had. Brian Finn fights back on the inside of Seaton, who repasses him onto the final turn here and back onto the main straight.
And the concerning thing for Jeff Emery and for John McCorkindale in particular will be the fact that they're title contenders. Let's have a look. Taylor just had a look up the inside of Seaton. He got a great run and he got past Caratinos, who's now working over the back of John Goodacre. A couple of Adelaideans going at it for the spot on the podium here in race 3. Gee, I feel for Aaron Seaton, but I don't think there'll be too many dramas there, given the boss turned him round. So fair bump play on, I think, down there at Scotty Taylor Motorsport.
I don't think Seaton's going to go and argue the point perhaps here. Watching Goodacre.
So John's got himself a really good position now after struggling a little bit this weekend and being a little bit frustrated with the pace of everybody else. The game has moved on this year, and they weren't quite on the outright speed, Goodacre, but he's got himself into a podium position, and you just need to preserve, don't you? You need to be in the mix to keep scoring points. This is a fascinating little battle. Ellingham, the Fastway Courier's car. The Sigarides just in front. So this is a good fight for around the bottom half of the top 10.
Yeah, this is about 11th, 12th and 13th at the moment as we start the final lap. Ellingham coming through to start his final lap. It's still Ryan Simpson, but a massive, massive margin here. 1:25.92. He's 2 seconds quicker than the field.
Yeah, and helped, I think, by the fact that half of them have carved each other up and carted themselves out of the motor race. But one of Simpson's hallmarks in the V8s last year was his ability to look after a tyre and make it work over the course of a motor race, and he's just doing that again in the Porsche. Unbelievable speed. Let's have a chat about the Dexion racer, Dylan O'Keefe, 17 years old. And this guy's come from nowhere to be an absolute star of the future in Porsche racing. Looking forward to seeing what the remainder of this year brings for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenger. Some great young talent mixing it up with some of the established stars like these two, Goodacre and Karatinos, who are still fighting it out for third place.
It's been good for the Kim Path Group entry into the final section of the lap now. Final lap of this race. And Ryan Simpson, the Parramatta Smash Repairs entry, is on target for a win here. This is the battle, I said, for third and fourth position.
The ultimate Porsche fan had a picture of a 930 Turbo on his wall, Karatinos. I think Ryan Simpson might put a picture of this car on his wall after this weekend, because he's just swept the weekend at Winton Motor Raceway. Great performance, and Ryan Simpson now dominates round 2 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge presented by Pirelli. Here's Aaron Seaton. What an adventurous race it was for this youngster.
He fought himself well to get back inside the top 10. He got 8th position ahead of Scotty Taylor. There is the results of race number 3. And Ryan Simpson, 8 seconds clear of Dylan O'Keefe in the end, back to Goodacre. Karatinos in 4th. Miles Taylor over the page to Brian Finn, who got in for 10th, down to Jim Campbell, and then the retirees. And gee, there were some names in this one.
Sum it up, it's perfect. Maximum points. We've got an even bigger lead in the championship because the guys that are fighting for the championship lead with me both had bad races there in the end. So couldn't have gone away here happier. We've done everything we came here to do and move into the next round with a good championship lead.
Impressive championship lead for Ryan Simpson, who leads John McCorkingdale, and the even more impressive Dylan O'Keefe in 3rd. John Goodacre sits 4th and is going well in the elite division standings. As you can see, he's got 20 points on Jeff Emery and John Karatinos, with Tim Miles after a consistent weekend sitting in 4th place. What a weekend.
Didn't that explode the field in the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge? Thanks to Pirelli, they're back at Sydney Motorsport Park. thenationals.com.au for more information. Congratulations to our top 3 in round 2 of the championship.